Hello everyone, Mrs. Pop here again, and for this video I'm here to talk to you about CER statements or claim evidence reasoning statements. This is how when you say something in class, you have a way of backing that up. Because let's be honest, because I said so is never a good enough reason. So this is going to be something that you can use in all of your classes, not just in science class, not just in the grade that you're in right now, but making a good CER statement makes sure that people know that you know what you're talking about, okay? Because again, because I said so, not a good reason. Okay, so let's start with the first one, and that is going to be your claim. Your claim is a statement that answers a question. It's accurate, it's specific, and it's usually one sentence in length. So your claim is basically what you think. You don't have your backup yet, you don't have your resources yet. It's basically just, this is what I think about what you're talking about. That's your claim. Okay, next is your evidence. That's what you see. There are observations, data tables, graphs, pictures, any other materials that are directly in support of your claim. They can be both qualitative, which means it can be research done by other people or a reading that you did that supports your claim. So it can be anything that other people have looked into the same thing and their findings, or it can be quantitative, and that means that it has to do with numbers and graphs and charts. So both qualitative, which is words and research, or quantitative, which is numbers and math, both of those things can be used to support your claim, depending on what your claim is. And in general, it's important to have more than one piece of evidence if you're making a claim, especially a big claim, because the more evidence you have in support of your claim, the more strength your claim gets. So your claim is what you think. Your evidence is what you see that supports that claim. And lastly, your reasoning. Your reasoning is any type of scientific principle or reading or material that explains why your evidence supports your claim. Because although sometimes it might make sense in your mind how your evidence and claim are related, remember that people are not mind readers and everybody has a different way of thinking. So your reasoning is kind of helping people make that connection between here's what I think, here's the evidence, and your reasoning is here's how they're connected. So it's in the explanation kind of how your evidence and your claim are working together in support of what you are saying. It also shows an understanding about what you're claiming, because once you get to the reasoning part, you can't effectively connect your evidence and your claim if you don't know what you're talking about. So this is really, the reasoning is the part that shows your true understanding of what you were talking about. And it usually also uses scientific vocabulary if you're specifically doing it in science, or academic language in general. Your reasoning is like the fancy part of your statement. It's kind of a conclusion, and it can be several sentences. So this really shows what you know. So again, your claim is what you think. Your evidence is what you see. Your reasoning is what you now know. This is a really cool graphic that just kind of puts it very simply, and the reason I really like it is because it has these little sentence starters. So in case you're not sure how to start it, your claim is going to answer the question. It's what you think. Your evidence can start with something like one example from the text, or in the textbook, or according to this book, according to this article, because then you know that you're about to introduce a piece of evidence. And for your reasoning, a good sentence starter is based on this evidence, we must conclude, or based on this evidence, now we know. You put in your claim, and then you say because, and that's where you start analyzing it. So all of this put together is going to form an explanation. to whatever you are trying to answer. And we're going to go over an example of that in just a moment. Basically, your claim, your evidence, and your reasoning, your CER, are all put together to create an explanation as to why something is happening around you. So let's look at an example. And if you don't know a whole lot about rocks or the rock cycle, that's okay because it's just an example. But my claim is going to be that granite is an igneous rock. There's 3 types of rocks: metamorphic, sedimentary, and igneous. I am claiming that granite, yes, like the granite that people like to make countertops out of, that granite, I am claiming that that is an igneous rock. My evidence that it's an igneous rock is, number 1, it has small crystals in it, and it has different colored parts to it. Why does that even matter? So maybe if you don't know anything about rocks, you're like, what does crystals and colors have to do with igneous? I don't even know what this word igneous means. That's where your reasoning comes in. And that's where I can show that I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just making all of this up. So my reasoning is going to be that melted rocks have had time to cool slowly inside a volcano. Those rocks that cool slowly have time to crystallize at their different temperatures. So let's say a white crystal crystallizes at a higher temperature than a green crystal, than a pink crystal. They all need different temperatures. So if magma inside a volcano has a really long time to cool slowly, it's going to have time for each one of those rocks to crystallize at different temperatures. So that is going to be my reasoning. And because granite has crystals in it and different colors, means it had to have a long time to crystallize. Otherwise, it would all just be like one gray blob, which is how a lot of rocks look. So to put together my claim of granite being igneous with my evidence about the crystals and colors, with my reasoning of why it has the crystals and colors and what that has to do with granite, I'm going to put together now my CER statement, or my entire explanation, which is granite is a type of igneous rock. From studying it under the microscope, I noticed that it has small crystals and that it varies in color. Okay, there's my claim and my evidence in my statement. Next, this happens, so the small crystals and the variations in colors, it happens when magma has a lot of time to cool slowly inside a volcano, and the different minerals can all separate and crystallize at their own pace. The definition of igneous rocks are ones that cool inside of volcanoes. Due to all this information, granite is an igneous rock. So that's kind of how you would go about putting together a CER statement. And it doesn't only have to be about rocks. Obviously, it can be about sports statistics. It can be about anything that you want to say, I think this. And instead of stopping at that and just saying, I think this because this is what I think, you're going to make your claim a lot more powerful by saying, I think this, here's my evidence, and here's how that evidence proves my claim. So that's the basics of CER statements. If you have any more advice or anything, go ahead and leave it down below. And if not, I hope this helped, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.